And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Spread Zone, the only podcast dedicated to making you, our loyal, fun-loving listeners, some serious cash. My name is Rizz, alongside, I always say it, the best in the business.
I don't feel like it's him.
Anthony's grumbling.
Anthony Stalter, Tim McKernan, and as always, the show is brought to you by our fantastic partners at FanDuel. Build your bankroll right alongside us using the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Get the best odds, great promos, and live bet as the action unfolds. All right, let's get right into it. Segment 1, the recap with Tim McKernan. Tim, how did we do?
Would you like the good news or would you like the bad news?
Let's go with the bad news first.
Anthony's the bad news.
Oh, Anthony.
Worst week of the year.
2-5, Rizz. 2-5.
What went wrong, buddy?
Let me think here. Tim, if you can refresh my memory, I had the Georgia-Texas over.
That is correct. That was a loss. That was 47.5. That did not.
Texas was inside the 10-yard line late, and if I got a touchdown, it hit. They did not. They got stopped on 4th down. There was another play, too. Oh, Tampa. Tampa Bay could have won that game outright against Buffalo. Instead, they don't even do that. The Bills get the front door cover on Josh Allen's 6th touchdown of the day.
Oh, yeah. That was
but no complaints. I stunk. I stunk for myself, our listeners, my family.
Tim, what did he get right?
Well, what he got right was the Panthers plus 3.5 at the Falcons.
Okay.
And something that you might want to keep your eye on, Rizz. This guy is good with totals in college football.
Good tease.
He got the South Florida Navy over of 65.
That was good.
Hang your hat on that.
Yeah, thanks, Rizz.
Tim, how'd you do?
I went 3-3, so I'm the nothing news. And I feel like I've either been 3-3 or 4-3 or 3-4 for like the last 5 weeks.
You got a push in there, right? Washington?
Yes, I got a push on Washington and Miami overseas. Did well in college last week. But Rizz, you were the winner. 4-3.
What?
Nice job, Rizz.
4-3.
Oh, Anthony, you know how it feels now. Be
do.
horrendous.
I don't like
and then
I really don't.
and watches everybody else is celebrating.
Yeah. No.
Making money.
I would rather all of us win.
I would too.
But if one of us is going to lose, I was fine with you being the one and me having, the decent record, which has now been tarnished over the last month.
I mean, on week 4 of this podcast of the football season, Anthony was at 68% against the number. 68% overall, 3-1 on locks. As we sit here this morning, gentlemen, Anthony is 46-43, 52%. Now, you can take that as a slight, but the reality is that's still the best of the whole podcast. I am 43-42 for 51%. Rizz, it's here we go. It's coming though. 35-48, 42%. The one thing that we do have going for the podcast, which is a pleasant surprise, I'm 7-4 on my locks. That's the only number that is above 60%, 64% on locks. Rizz, you are at 6-6, 50%. Okay. And Anthony, you are at 5-7, 42%. I apologize. 6-6, 50%. 6-6, 50%. After losing last week on the Chargers -3 at the Jaguars. That was an odd outing. I mean, to lose the cover is one thing, but they got stomped.
Dude, I remember in the pod I said normally I'll either pass or go the other way, but this line's too good to be true, and it was.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers they were awful. They were awful in Jacksonville. 6 points against the Jaguars defense that couldn't stop Davis Mills and the Texans a week prior.
Rizz. I don't blame you on that.
Listen, let's take our first break, and then we'll come back. We'll dive headfirst into it's Week 13. Week 13 college football?
I don't like
that. So we've each got 3 picks to make you some money, and while you wait, open up that big, beautiful blue FanDuel app and get the lines ready. We'll be back on the Spread Zone. All right, we're back on the Spread Zone, presented by FanDuel. Time to make some money on the college slate. Week 13 on deck. And Anthony, you want to kick us off with your first pick? And remember, all our picks are available on the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
Boys, this is redemption week. I'm tired.
Oh,
I'm tired of this. Okay.
Nice. Passion.
Yeah, we're going here. So I went to my my crack analytic team. which is the esteemed Tim McKernan, who's sitting to my left. And I said, Tim, why don't you pull up some numbers for me? And he did. I'm batting 1,000 over the last 4 weeks when it comes to totals.
Okay.
2-0. But nonetheless.
Still counts.
Nonetheless.
By definition.
I remember Tim also saying earlier in the year, when this guy gets on a total, look out.
Yeah.
I did not love the slate for college football this week from a spread standpoint. So, boys, we got a bit of a theme today.
Total time.
I'm going with my strengths.
Oh, it's total time.
Total time.
Give me the Hawaii UNLV
boy.
over 64.5. UNLV has played some doozies. Last week, the number didn't get there in the Utah State game. It was 29-26. That even went to overtime, Rizz. Don't know how the over didn't cash in that one. But UNLV, 42
stupid-ass 2-point conversion rule. That's why.
There you go.
Yeah.
42 points against Colorado State, 35 against New Mexico, 31 against Boise, 51 against Air Force, 31 against Wyoming.
What is it? So what's total?
That is UNLV's, just their offensive performance. The total is 64.5.
So you're taking the over?
I'm taking the over in that Hawaii UNLV game. Hawaii can also put up some crooked numbers. They have scored at least 31 points in 5 straight weeks. So this is kind of a sneaky.
I like this play a lot, and I said that about the South Florida Navy one and the Notre Dame Navy one that you've been hitting on.
Once you give me your blessing, Tim, good
I really
things.
do like these.
By the way, that's a Friday night game if you're playing it. Yeah. Friday night, UNLV. It's a late kickoff, but we'll all be watching Hawaii and UNLV put up the points.
I like that trend that you are on, and
you.
you have been on a heater on the totals on this podcast. I've got a trend as well, and it's the inverse, and that's when I pick Missouri, they don't cover, and when I pick against Missouri, they do cover. So note that in advance. But I like Missouri plus 7.5 against Oklahoma. It's not because I'm high on Missouri so much as both have great
Oklahoma,
defenses.
big win over Alabama last week.
Stunning what Oklahoma has done on the road in Knoxville and Tuscaloosa. This isn't to say I'm super high on Missouri. I want to make that clear. They just both have great defenses.
So the freshman is still quarterback?
I would bet Bo Perbula will quarterback, but right now Zollers is the quarterback, which would then certainly be a problem based on how he
I believe I saw
A&M.
Drinkwitz said that the freshman is the quarterback.
Yes, but there was a report by CBS Sports that Perbula could play. So we will see. Either way,
if by kickoff that changes.
It could. It could very well.
So
it could. You got to keep an eye on it. Yes, but my reasoning for taking it is Missouri and their defense and Oklahoma. I think that their offense isn't going to be able to do a whole lot against Missouri's defense, and it's like when you're taking a Big Ten team that you don't really like. I think Michigan. I don't know if you know who Michigan's playing this week, but they're given 14.
Maryland.
There you go. It's not like I think Maryland's going to win so much as Michigan beating somebody by 14 is tough to do. Oklahoma kind of has that same thing going on, and Missouri has a great defense.
So do you think Oklahoma wins? But
my expectation is Oklahoma's probably winning like a 17-13 type of game. So that's the reasoning. As a Missouri fan, I'd love to see Missouri win, but I would take Missouri in the 7.5 because I expect it to be a lower scoring game. I also think there could be a little hangover effect from the huge win against Alabama last week. That's my reasoning. Missouri plus 7.5.
All right, for my first pick, I'm looking at a huge Big Ten showdown that's basically a college football playoff elimination game. I'm taking the points with the road team. Give me number 16 USC plus 9.5 against number 6 Oregon. USC might be the most underappreciated team in the country with a top 10 offense that's averaging nearly 500 yards a game. Oregon has been great, but they have a history of being overestimated by the market, sitting at 5-4-1 against the spread. USC's playoff hopes are on the line here, and I think their offense does enough to stay well within this big number. USC plus 9.5 against Oregon. That's my first pick.
All right.
Anthony.
Same game. Give me the over 59.5. USC and Oregon. I think both these teams put up points, as Rizz just mentioned. Two teams that can score, both efficient. Oregon is number 4 in the nation offensively with at ESPN FPI, whereas USC comes in number 2 offensively. Oregon does have the better defense overall, but I think this is going to be a track meet in Eugene on Saturday afternoon. I think both teams could get into the 30s. Oregon finally got their offense going last week against Minnesota after a couple of games in which bad weather, Wisconsin bad weather, Iowa bad weather. Good weather last week. Oregon hung a bunch on Minnesota. So give me the over 59.5 USC Oregon.
I'm going obscure with my next play, but I love the play. Auburn minus 27.5 against Mercer. Let me give you my reasoning. Auburn has discovered its offense here over the last couple of weeks, putting up some points against Arkansas and in Nashville against Vanderbilt. DJ Durkin, I think, is auditioning for that head coaching job. And I think one of the stages of auditioning is to try to beat the absolute hell out of lesser opponents.
That doesn't scare you, that number? Minus 27.5?
I think that in this particular case, because he's auditioning for the job, trying to get support, I think he will actually put it on him. Whereas like a Kirby Smart's laying 43 this weekend, Mike Elko is laying 53 against Sanford. They're just trying to stay healthy to get to the playoff. Auburn's not playing for anything. Durkin is playing for his job to try to become the head coach there. I'll lay the 27.5 because I think they will put it on them in a major way to try to make a statement.
All right, second, I'm looking at a great situational spot in the ACC. Give me SMU minus 2.5 at home against Louisville. SMU coming off a bye week, well-rested, ready, playing for a spot in a conference title game. Louisville, on the other hand, coming off 2 straight losses, has a huge rivalry game against Kentucky on deck. SMU's defense will dominate a struggling Louisville offensive line, so I'll lay the points with the well-rested home team, SMU minus 2.5 at home against Louisville. Your third and final pick, Anthony.
Give me Rutgers, Ohio State over 55.5. Ohio State defensively is very good, but if Rutgers has anything, they have an offense. Their defense, though, is one of the worst, if not the worst, in the nation. They're definitely the worst defense in the Power 5. So Ohio State, I feel like they've been playing with their food over the last couple of weeks. But I think they open things up. I could see them getting into the 50s on their own. I might need a.
What's the line? What's the line on that game?
55.5.
5.5. Damn.
But I think Ohio State high 40s, if not 50s. Purdue scored 10 points on Ohio State. Yeah. I think Rutgers can give me at least 10. And I actually considered this to be at one point my game of the week, my lock. But. Wow. Got something else for you. So, yeah, Rutgers, Ohio State over 55.5.
I thought you might be on this one that I'm going with since it is a total, and maybe you still will. Notre Dame, Syracuse over 50.5. I always try to find some semblance of motivation or lack thereof at this point in the college football season. Notre Dame is in a weird spot. They should be a gimme for the college football playoff. At where they are, they most likely are going to win their last 2 games. They're playing weak opponents like Syracuse. But 50.5 is a pretty low total for a team that I think is going to have no problem putting up 40+ on their own. So Notre Dame, Syracuse, over 50.5 in South Bend, Rizz.
All right, for my final college pick, I'm backing a short home favorite in the Big 12. Give me the number 23 Houston Cougars against TCU. Houston minus 1.5. Prime spot for the Cougars. Their defense is one of the best in the country. They're up against the TCU offense. It's been on a downward spiral, scoring a combined 30 points in the last 2 games. TCU also playing their 3rd road game in 4 weeks. I think the home crowd gives Houston the edge, and they need to win and cover this small number. So give me Houston minus 1.5 against the TCU Horned Frogs.
Nice.
Nice.
All right, excellent stuff, fellas. It's a wrap on the college football slate. When we come back, it's on to the pros. NFL Week 12. We've each got 3 picks, and then we'll give you our FanDuel locks of the week. Spread Zone, presented by FanDuel. All right, and we're back on the Spread Zone, brought to you by FanDuel. Time for the big boys. NFL Week 12. Let's get right into it. Anthony Stalter, your first NFL pick.
I'm sticking with the theme today, boys.
All totals all the time?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Giants.
He said it was total time.
Giants, Lions, over 50. These New York Giants haven't scored fewer than 20 points in a game since Week 5 at New Orleans. And that was a game in which I think they turned the ball over 3 or 4 times. On the other side, Detroit's coming off a miserable offensive performance in Philadelphia, but wind, colds, not great elements for Jared Goff. Now that they're back at Ford Fields, I think they open things up. Give me the over 50. It's a lot of points, but if I can get 20 out of the Giants, I feel very confident that this thing goes over.
And a bounce back after the disappointing performance against the Eagles defense. I like where you're coming from. I was looking at that one, sir. I am on the Chiefs minus 3.5 at home against the Colts. What could be a playoff preview. The Chiefs probably viewed by many as now in the beginning of the end of the dynasty after losing last week against the Broncos in Denver. This is a spot to go up against a Colts team that has a great record, but not necessarily impressive opponents that they have beaten. So I will take the Chiefs minus 3.5, getting right at home at Arrowhead against the Colts.
All right, my first pick is a divisional road game where I'm fading a team that's in a terrible spot. Give me the New Orleans Saints on the money line at even money against the Atlanta Falcons. The team at ESPN calls the Falcons an automatic fade this week.
Oh, wow.
Automatic fade. They've played consecutive overtime games, including an overseas trip. They're now staring down a divisional road contest with their starting QB and top receiver potentially out. Penix is out.
Penix is out possibly for the year. Kirk Cousins can't throw the ball more than 2 feet.
Nice. They're fun.
Yeah.
They've lost 5 straight and are on official quit watch. I will take the Saints to win this one outright.
I like that official quit watch.
Yes.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Anthony, your next pick.
Give me the over 47.5 in the Jaguars and Cardinals game. Boy, these Jaguars, I faded them last week. They bit me, but I'm going to hop on that offense at least. I faded them last week because their defense has been terrible. Of course, they only allowed 6 last week, but the week before, again, Davis Mills and company hung 36 on them. Geno Smith, you guys watch Geno Smith at all play football? Probably not because you don't want to. Geno Smith and the Raiders put 29 on Jacksonville the week prior, but the Jaguars have also been scoring 35 points, 29 points, 30 points. Arizona, conversely, allowed 41 last week to San Francisco, allowed 44 to Seattle the week prior, and they have scored at least 20 points in 7 straight games. So give me the over 47.5 Jaguars Cardinals.
This team is now in first place, probably one of the more surprising developments at this point in the NFL season. And I really do. Give me the Bears minus 2.5 at home against the Steelers. Bears minus 2.5 at home against the Steelers. I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised.
Is Aaron Rodgers going to play?
The size of the line on that one, that's certainly...
They said he could play.
A question as we sit here and talk right now.
So we're recording this on a Wednesday.
Yeah, reminder, we're recording Wednesday because it does matter.
It matters.
I had for
weather and injuries.
Yeah, there was a weather game last week that got me. Steelers-Bengals, where I would not have played it had the wind not been whipping. So again, like Rizz said, we record on Wednesday.
So that's one to watch. Second, I'm taking the points with a desperate team here. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals plus 7.5. At home against the Patriots. Now, the Bengals are playing for their season, and that loss to the Steelers wasn't as bad as the final score looked if you actually watched that game. I think the number is too high. I don't think the Bengals win. I just don't think the Patriots cover. So give me the Bengals plus 7.5. I think that number is too high for a desperate home team, so I will take the points. Bengals plus 7.5. Anthony, your final pick.
So I've been going back and forth on 2 games, but I think I've landed on the one that you just talked about. Give me the over 49 points in the Patriots and Bengals. Again, wind was a huge factor last week. I'm not assuming that the wind will be as bad at Paycor Stadium this Sunday. And the Bengals, defense is always optional for them, and they tend to play in a lot of shootouts because their defense is optional.
Jamar Chase is out, though.
He is. T. Higgins has been phenomenal. And Joe Flacco, the way that he's distributing the ball, whether it's Noah Fant or Oshivash, he's done well. So I'm going to do the over 49. At the very least, the Patriots get in the 30s.
I love this game. I've done solely college plays as my locks on our podcast. I was considering putting this in the lock category. I love this. Ravens versus Jets over 44.5. Lamar Jackson, I don't know what went on last week, but that was
rough.
That was
Myles Garrett.
That was Myles Garrett. You're exactly right. That'll be a bounce back this week, and I love this. Ravens Jets over 44.5.
All right, I'm going to ask you this question, fellas. Who is the most profitable team in the NFL this season?
Colts.
That's a nice play. I'm going to go Browns.
Nope. And nope. The most profitable team in the NFL, covering the spread 80% of the time, the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow.
Oh, they got me too last week, didn't
Yeah, they did.
So I'm going to lay a big number with a good team against a terrible team. Give me the Seahawks minus 13.5 against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are bad, and now they're without their best receiver, Calvin Ridley. So the Seahawks should roll this game. Again, the Seahawks have been the most profitable team in the NFL this season.
I might have to play this one. This screams like a 41-3 kind of afternoon. Yeah,
it's mine. I'm locking in minus 13.5 for my final NFL pick. All
I
right,
like
so
that play.
time for our FanDuel locks of the week. The one pick we feel the most confident in. Let's make some money, fellas. Anthony,
I got one non-total for you.
Oh, so I guess not.
It's not
Total time, but okay.
Rizz, you're gonna like this. Did you get even money on those Saints?
Yeah.
Sign me up, baby.
There we go.
This Falcon team is trash.
Horrendous.
They are poorly coached. Kirk Cousins is a nightmare for himself and his team. You mentioned it, Drake London is likely out. The Saints stink. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
2 straight overtime. You talk about the amount of time that defense has been on the field for the Falcons over the last 2 weeks, plus the travel. Yeah. Did I mention Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, you can't throw it 2 feet, you said?
He's horrendous. He started against Miami, and I think they had like 10 3-and-outs. Give me them Saints. Even money.
Even money.
Lock it up.
I hope I didn't give off any physical tells. You can study the video. When Anthony said Oregon USC over.
Yeah.
Oregon USC 59.5. That is.
We're all on that game.
That's my like. Now, Rizz, you are on the side.
I'm on.
You're taking USC in the 9.5.
USC plus 9.5.
Well, if Tim and I are right, though, and it's a shootout, I like your side.
You'll be in a good spot. It could wind up being like a 50-47 kind of deal. I think
it's going to be wild.
I think that they're being viewed, and why this total is not in the 60s or even close to 70 is because they've played some of those Big Ten teams that grind it out over the last few weeks. And you mentioned the weather. They still both lack defenses, and they both have great offenses. Unless it's pouring down in Eugene or super windy, this thing is going to be over by the time they get to the fourth quarter. As far as the total goes in that 59.5, Oregon, USC over 59.5. To improve me to 8-4 on my locks and try to get the people paid on this one. Oregon, USC over 59.5.
All right, for my lock, I'm looking at a matchup that is the definition of a mismatch. Classic case of an elite unit going up against a completely broken one. My FanDuel lock of the week is the Baltimore Ravens minus 13.5 at home against your New York Jets. Somebody's New York Jets. The Ravens defense has been absolutely smothering teams, allowing just under 15 points per game over the last 5. The Jets offense, who's starting?
Tyrod Taylor.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dead last in the league in passing and 25th in scoring. This is a get-right spot for Baltimore at home. I don't see how the Jets keep this close. I will lay the big number with confidence. Lock of the week, Baltimore Ravens, minus 13.5 at home against the Jets.
Tim, I just did some research for us, my man.
Yeah, what do you got?
I don't care necessarily about the rain, 15% chance to rain. Key is wind. Mm-hmm. We got little to no wind in Eugene.
Oh.
I think we need to empty out our retirement accounts and our wide variety of equities. I mean, Anthony,
401k,
really diversified.
Yeah.
And we go all in on the over and we double up our net worth.
What could go wrong?
I don't think anything.
Yeah. With no wind? Come on.
Yeah. Once we have the no wind.
You heard the wind report, right?
Gentlemen, that's a wrap on this week's Spread Zone presented by FanDuel. Quick reminder, all our picks are made on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Make sure you download it today and tell us as we build our bankrolls all season long. I'm Rizz. Anthony Stalter, Tim McKernan. We'll see you next week. Good luck, and may all your bets be winners. We'll see you.
We provide information about sports betting for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm gambling regulations in your state of residence. To participate in sports gaming, you must be 21 years of age or older and be physically present in a state where sports betting is legal. If you or someone you know has a sports betting or gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org for more information and further assistance.